Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this series we're going to be going over Mars in the houses, okay? Mars in the houses, and in this episode we're going to be talking about Mars in the 7th house, okay? Having Mars in the 7th house. And first we're going to go over Mars, okay? What's Mars? Mars in astrology represents the planet that rules energy in the most direct sense. So, you know, how we're able to move, how we're able to become in existence, this is all through energy. That is the basic source, is through energy. And Mars rules energy in the most direct sense, okay? That's why Mars is represented as the fighter, the warrior. Mars rules physical activities, muscles, movement, energy, adrenaline, okay? Our instincts, our impulses, okay? Mars rules physical activity, sports, athletics, all of these things that deal with energy and movement, taking action. Also our adrenaline, but also our sexual energy as well too. Okay, our instincts. This is all Mars. This is like this physical warrior. And then you have the 7th house, okay? The 7th house is ruled by Libra. It deals with relationships, our one-to-one relationships, okay? This is our one-to-one relationships with people, okay? This is the people we date. This is the people we marry. This is our best friends. This is our business partners, okay? This is our one-to-one friendships, okay? And it also just deals with our relationships with ideas, okay? How we see things and how we relate it to ourselves, how we look at ourselves in the mirror. You know, this is all 7th house. It deals with, you know, relationships between people, but also with ideas, okay? In general, and just how we balance things out. So the first thing I can say with Mars in the 7th house, okay, is that there are lots of adrenaline, lots of confrontation, lots of fighting when it comes to relationships, okay? Relationships, okay? When you have Mars in your 7th house, you're definitely going to have confrontation with relationships. Mars is a fighter. It is this fiery, it's like a fireball. And you put it in the house of relationships and balance, and you're going to see lots of fire in that, okay? Your relationships with people are going to be confrontational. 7th house deals with the people that we attract, okay? You know, how we attract people. And with Mars being here, we are going to be attracting lots of confrontation, Mars energy. Now, this could be coming from you, so you could be the fighter in the relationship with whoever this person is, or you can attract someone who's fighting you, okay? And this could be, you know, just arguments. This could just be anger being pushed towards you. Anything to create confrontation. Okay, anything that's going to want to create boundaries, this is going to be manifested with Mars in 7th house, because again, Mars is a fighter, so it creates confrontation. And people with this placement, it's probably meant to you to be a fighter. Okay, I'm going to just be honest. It's probably meant for you to stand up for yourself, to fight off whatever relationships that don't work for you, because it's natural for you to have confrontation within it. So it's calling for confrontation. But be careful, because again, this placement can be stressful on your relationships, okay? With that Mars energy constantly causing confrontation. When you do get into dates and relationships with people, you can deal with like mean or anger, or, you know, type of violations of boundaries, things that just make you angry, okay? That really push your temper up through these relationships. So again, it's not the best placement for relationships, because it does cause lots of confrontation. But this is probably a calling, you know, to, you know, be a warrior. Stand up for yourself in relationships. You know, with people with Mars in the 7th house, you're going to have to stand up for yourself, you know, in relationships, because you're going to attract someone who makes you do that, because there's confrontation. There's all this fiery energy. So definitely look out for that, okay? Yes, lots of enemies, okay, with this placement. Mars in the 7th house creates enemies. When we talk about the 7th house, the 7th house kind of already deals with enemies off the bat, because it deals with your relationships, and they can be positive or negative. 7th house doesn't, its 7th house could be positive or negative. So the relationships could be positive or negative, but in general, it's relationships, and it's how you see others and how others see you, and who you are to other people and who they are to you. Do you like them? Do they like you? How you guys get along? How do you guys balance each other? So with this Mars energy, a lot of these relationships are going to have a fiery confrontational theme. So it's like energetically with Mars and 7th house people, you're just coming into this lifetime, you're going to attract enemies. You're going to attract enemies. You're going to have to deal with lots of enemies, lots of people in opposition towards you. And again, this manifestation on a higher level, you got to look at it as maybe this is to help me become more of a fighter, help me become more independent. You know, you have to be able to fight for yourself with this placement, because you're going to be attracting lots of people bumping into you, causing confrontations. Okay, so independence is a very strong skill that this placement kind of results into because of all the confrontation. Okay, and boundaries being pushed, you know, with all these, you know, enemies and people in opposition. And also with all this opposition, you know, with enemies and people coming at you with this placement, you also have to be careful to not be so off balance, because there is such a thing as too much fighting, too much confrontation. And you're gonna have to pick your battles wisely, because the 7th house deals with balance. And it's definitely unbalanced to be fighting all relationships 100% all the time. I mean, that's just not peaceful, natural. It is not balanced. So with Mars in the 7th house people, yes, balance is a challenge. But you're going to have to, like I said, choose your balance wisely. You can't fight everyone, because everyone ain't worth the fight. You know, definitely. So choose your battles wisely so that your house of relationships can have some peace, because Mars being here definitely challenges your peace. Okay, you know, this is a very social house, so you're coming against a lot of oppositions and people who, you know, can become, you know, your opposition. But it depends on your chart. You know, things can balance out, and there are other social houses too that you can utilize to balance things out. But still, with Mars in the 7th house, you're going to be dealing with confrontations and oppositions and enemies. Definitely, and it will be fired up here. Also, a lot of times people get frustrated with their enemies, and they develop a strong sense of independence, okay? Mars in 7th house people can have lots of independence because they go through lots of confrontation with other people. So they begin to learn how to be independent and not be so reliant on other people, and because of all these disappointing or confrontational relationships, or how so many of these relationships enforce them to be independent. Or, you know, so be careful, you know, with Mars in 7th house people, you can have, you know, trust issues, because you be fighting a lot of people. And it doesn't have to be physical. I'm not even saying physical fighting, but I'm just saying like arguing, confrontation, anything of that. Because of all that confrontation, you know, you can develop a strong independence from people, but also kind of not trusting people. So that's, again, what I'm piggybacking to. Choose your battles wisely, because you don't want your 7th house to be so imbalanced that you're not trusting anyone. You know, you just want to be strong enough to be independent and to fight for your boundaries. Because with Mars in 7th house, you have to understand the reason why you would have this placement, in my opinion, this is my opinion in the first place, is because you probably need to learn how to fight for yourself and defend yourself. And you probably spent a lot of lifetimes, you know, if you believe in that, compromising. So to put an energy like Mars, which is so opposite of the 7th house, you know, the universe probably wants you to be more of a fighter. Stop compromising. Stop, you know, letting people walk around you so much. So your boundaries are being pushed to get you to stand up for them, to get you to recognize that you need boundaries and you can't share and compromise with people so much and be so nice. So definitely understand that with this placement. Also, with this placement, you can attract a lot of sexual energy, okay? Mars is a very sexual planet, and the type of relationships or people that you attract can be very sexual, can have lots of like, you know, because this is Mars, so this is like very energetic, you know, but also have this kind of sexual energy to you. You can attract a lot of sexual attention with Mars in the 7th house, okay? You know, so be careful with that too, because, you know, you can attract people who want you sexually, but not mentally, and dating you and courting you. It doesn't even have to be dating, but just taking you more seriously on a mental level, you know. So be careful with that, with attracting a lot of sexual energy, because that can also ruin your 7th house, which is a house of like dating, getting into relationships, which is where you have to talk and engage with someone mentally. And when having Mars in this house, you can be attracting a lot of sexual energy, and it can, you know, put your 7th house off balance, because you need to connect to people mentally, okay, too, on a higher level too. And if people are just focused on you on that Mars adrenaline sexual level, you can miss out on someone really dating you and taking you seriously. So be careful, you know. So, you know, this is Mars in the 7th house. I mean, this is not an easy placement in my opinion. And I feel like this placement isn't easy because Mars is so opposite from the 7th house. It's so fiery, and the 7th house is so much about balance. And, you know, with all this fiery energy, you know, it can cause so much confrontation in a house that's supposed to be very peaceful. But again, I feel like this disruption of peace, this interruption of peace, is to wake this person up. People in Mars in 7th house, I feel like it's to wake you up, because you need to learn how to fight for yourself and be more of a fighter and be more independent, and stop compromising, over-compromising and oversharing and being too nice. You know, the universe wants you to develop stronger boundaries. So I believe this is why this placement's manifested. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is Mars in the 7th house, okay? And if you guys did enjoy that, come back for some more, okay? And I also do natal chart readings, okay, astrology readings. All you gotta do is email me and we could go forward with that. And also check out my music here, okay? Here on YouTube, but as well I have on Spotify and Apple. I have all the links in the description box below. And I'll check you guys out on the next video.
Remember when they all used to test you? Remember when it all didn't impress you? So felt lost, never left you.